This is Super Yacht News with Sisman. In association with Go Earth, navigating boat buyers to better deals. Hi, welcome back to the channel. So we've got an update on the motor yacht Amadea. You know the story, seized in Fiji by the US government, taken to the US, and there's been a court case going on ever since about the ownership of that vessel. Mr. Edward Kutenatov, the Russian, claims to be the owner. The US government claims he's not the owner, he's a shell owner, and Suleiman Karimov bought the yacht from him. And they presented a lot of evidence in that case. Short story is, the court ruled in the favour of the US government. Now, as soon as that ruling was put out, the lawyers for Mr. Kutenatov said they were going to appeal. And we've just had an update, which is quite remarkable, actually, in that the US government has asked the claimant who lost that case to pay for the upkeep of the yacht. In an exchange of emails that we've seen, the Department of Justice has asked for over $25 million. An excerpt from the email reads as follows: "We would consent to a stay of judgment pending appeal if your client posts a bond for the maintenance and storage costs that the USMS, United States Marshal Service, has incurred to date, and the USMS anticipates it would incur over the course of an appeal. If you do not agree, the government may ask the court to impose such a bond, pending appeal anyhow." Now, apparently that request, which they did put forward, was denied by the court. Then the Department of Justice lawyers then asked Kutenatov's lawyers to help facilitate the sale of the vessel by signing documents to retitle the yacht. This includes a request that he and his affiliates renounce claims to Amadea and assist the government in selling it. In that email, which we've also seen, they sent us copies, they asked the following. It says, "We mean that your clients would renounce claims to Amadea and not pursue litigation or make claims to it in US court or any other forum. This would include also signing any documents reasonably necessary to retitle or register the yacht. Thus, if the Amadea is sold and then your clients are successful on appeal, the remedy would be to the net proceeds of the sale, not the return of the Amadea." The email goes on to say, "As an alternative, the government would also agree to hold the net proceeds of any sale in escrow pending outcome of the appeal, provided your clients agree to facilitate that sale and to recover from those proceeds if they prevail on appeal. This arrangement, essentially an interlocutory sale pending appeal, would preserve your client's right to the full value of the property while potentially saving both parties' maintenance costs." The lawyer said that this is like asking the victim of a carjacking to sign over the pink slip at the chop shop. It's absurd on its face and deeply telling of the desperation the government now faces. Now, because the appeal is now active, those costs will continue to accumulate: maintenance costs, legal fees, and storage expenses, until either the appeal is resolved or the yacht is sold. That was a quote. That last paragraph was a quote from the statement released by the lawyers representing Edward Kutenatov. Now, clearly, what the US government is trying to do is trying to prevent having to continue paying those storage costs and the maintenance fees, right? So they're saying, let's sell the yacht, we'll put the money in a bank account, and then if you win your appeal, then you can have the money, rather than let's not keep this asset that's costed us money continuously and then, get the yacht back at the end of it. It's quite a stunning request, isn't it? I was quite surprised to read that, actually. And I can understand why, if you were the rightful owner, why you would not want to do that. Imagine if the police seized your car and they said, you sign over the paperwork to us, we'll sell it, and then you can take us to court to try to get your car back, which we've now sold, but instead you sign over the paperwork, we'll sell it, and then if you win on appeal, we'll give you the money back for your car, but you won't get your car back. I can see why someone might not want to do that. Like I said, I can see why they're doing it, because they don't want to keep paying for it, but at the same time, yeah. Okay, well, anyway, I don't normally give opinions here, but that's quite shocking. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. I'd be very interested to hear what you think about that request. Obviously, the $25 million they asked for, they didn't get that. The court denied the DOJ the ability to collect that money in the sense of a bond from the person who's trying to get what he says is his yacht back. Anyway, we'll leave that with you. I'll be very interested to hear what you have to what you have to say in the comments. We'll move on now. When Alfa Nero was seized in Antigua, the former crew who'd worked on board right up until the vessel was seized were granted their final salaries by the court on the island. So they basically the former crew went to court and said, look, when that yacht sells, we want our money. Which they won that case, right? So the vessel sold. As far as I remember, there was a section in some of the paperwork that said that they had to pay back the crew that money before they did whatever the Antiguan government was going to do with that money. Now it seems that they've had some of the money, but what we now understand is that when the court made the ruling, they miscalculated how much money was actually owed to the crew, and they didn't include some other things like holiday pay and their final severance pay in those fees. So they don't have all of their money. So the government of Antigua has obviously had that money now, but they're not. So far, they haven't paid the crew everything that they're owed, which comes to a surprise, quite a surprise to us, because we were under the impression that they got all of that money that they were owed. Obviously, we've tried to contact the Antiguan government about this, and we had no reply. In all fairness, we did only contact them yesterday, but they generally don't answer us when we go to them to ask any questions at all. So, yeah, so that's quite shocking. That's still going on. Staying with the subject, on Friday we talked about motor yacht Luna in Germany, and I mentioned in the video on Friday that the crew of Luna were unlikely to get paid anytime soon because Ocean Skies, one of the companies responsible, as well as Wyco, hadn't even applied for a license, and it's taken 3 years for the other case, right? And they still don't have their money. But what I failed to realize when I did that video is that Mr. Akhmedov, the owner of Luna, he's no longer sanctioned. So they no longer need that license. Now, from what we understand, Wyco have €1 million or thereabouts of the money that was meant to be paid to the crew members, and they haven't paid it so far. And obviously, they never answer us when we contact them. But so all of those crew members who worked on Luna right up until he was sanctioned are still owed that money. And now there's no reason not to pay them. Now, Ocean Skies, which is one of the companies that was involved in the management of that vessel, they said they don't have any money to pay the crew. But we've been told that Wyco has the money to pay that crew, and yet they still don't have it. Now, there's nothing preventing them from paying those people. Now, we can't confirm independently that Wyco has that money, but we've heard from multiple sources that they do have it. And like I said, we've tried to contact them on numerous occasions, and they never get back to us. So we'll keep you updated on that story when we have more. Hopefully they will get paid soon enough. We've also had other sources telling us that Luna is for sale or she's been sold. We've had mixed information on that story. Actually, we've had people telling us that the vessel is for sale. We've had people telling us that the vessel is about to be sold. We've had someone tell us that it's already been sold, and then we've had other people who are close to the vessel telling us that it's not for sale. So that's a bit of I'll take that one as it comes, because we can't get to the bottom of that one just yet. All right, so we've got one last thing before I go. The Sun newspaper, which if you're from the UK, you'll know the Sun newspaper. It's a tabloid newspaper in the UK. They did an article about Bill Gates. You might recognize this when I start telling you. They did an article about Bill Gates possibly selling his yacht. and the new owner being a former NHL goalie. Now, if you watch the channel, you'll know that we covered this story last week. Now, The Sun posted the article on their website today, or in the last couple of, I think it's today, and they credited another website called Luxury Launches. Now, if you've seen this website, Luxury Launches, they should be paying us royalties, basically, because they take all of our stories and they rewrite them. They do credit us, in all fairness. They do credit us. But it's extremely frustrating to see The Sun credit them for the story. And in that story that they've credited them with, they're crediting us. So we contacted The Sun. I found out the journalist who wrote the story, contacted him and asked him to correct that credit. It might seem petty, but the fact is that a lot of people read those newspapers, and it would be great exposure for us, and we deserve the credit because we brought up the story, right? We found that story, we did all of the research on that, and yeah, they're getting the credit. So please change that. I've contacted the journalist through X, so and I've sent him a link to our video and asked him to check it. I doubt he will change it, but it's unfortunate really when things like that happen, but it's kind of annoying. Anyway, I'll leave that one with you. I just wanted to point that out. If you see most of the stories, Luxury Launches post a lot of stories, but very often they're obviously clearly watching our videos, so that's where they get a lot of their stories from. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you have a great week, and let us know what you think in the comments. Remember to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell for future notifications and all that kind of stuff. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.